Welcome to the Mac and Chuck Podcast Candidate Special with your hosts, Chuck Hill and Scott McKenzie.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Look at him. Isn't he so pretty? Look at that smile. Look at that big grin he's got on his face tonight.
You can see down my throat.
Tonight's his kind of show. That's why he's so excited to be on here tonight.
Is it a big show?
It is a big show. And
Really?
let me tell you, tonight is a huge show.
And it's going to be a long show.
Yep, we gave you guys fair warning throughout the week.
We did. We gave you the heads up that if you didn't want to watch, you can. But no, you're here. You're here now.
You're here.
You have to stay.
It's really an important show. It's an informative show. We got a ton of candidates on tonight that are going to be local. We have a lot of people that just kind of want to give you their viewpoints and just kind of let you know why they're running for office and, just where they stand and what kind of inspired them to run for office.
Well, this is what the election's 2 weeks away?
Yeah.
2 weeks from Tuesday.
2 weeks. So, it's a great time to have the show. We encourage everyone to do your own research for your candidates in your area. But most importantly, we want you to hear from the candidates themselves tonight. And I think it's very important for us, Mac, to mention also that tonight's show is sponsored by absolutely no one. We took no money from any candidates. No candidates were given any money to be on the show tonight.
We didn't?
No, we didn't. Not tonight.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
But we do want to let you guys, have an opportunity to ask questions. Even if, it's maybe not in your area, it may be some question that someone else is asking in the back of their mind. And we're going to put those questions up on the board so we can have people listen up and just have the opportunity to answer. Stay tuned to the show, though, even after your candidate is done speaking, because we are encouraging the candidates to stay tuned into the show throughout the end of it in case someone has asked a question and maybe they want to comment their input. We are offering every candidate tonight 5 to 7 minutes to talk about whatever they want to talk about concerning their candidacy and without interruption.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt, you got anything you want to add to that tonight?
I just have questions for the mayoral candidates in my town and yours.
Okay. Well, you being a former resident.
Well, I lived here 26 years, so I do have some input, and I still have family here.
And who knows? Maybe someday you'll be back.
Maybe.
It's quite possible.
Well, let's not jump the gun now.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for our first candidate to come on, got a couple things I just wanted to kind of say to some friends of ours. Our friend Kim, we love you. We know you're going through some stuff right now and some medical stuff.
I also know she's doped up.
She's probably not watching tonight because she's probably a little singing high right now.
Singing.
But we do want to make sure that Kim, that we're thinking about you here and you're in our prayers. The Donzi family, they're dealing with some quarantine issues right now, so we're thinking about you guys also. And for those of you who don't know, that's Engineer Ann. She sits in from time to time for DJ Whiteout, and so our prayers go out to you guys also. So Mac, if you don't have anything else to go, you got to sit up so these people can see your smiling face.
People want to see that. I can fake it though. I really can.
So I think we're going to go ahead and kick it off. We might actually get started on time tonight. Actually, a few minutes early. I know. Unless you have something else that you'd like to add for the show tonight.
No, I don't have any stump speeches.
No stump speeches?
No.
Not yet, right? Maybe one day.
Maybe.
Possible. Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Very cool. I think with that being said, I think we've kind of covered all the bases. And so we're going to actually open it up. And DJ Whiteout, if you want to go ahead and let Mr. Stacy come in, we will kind of give a holler at him and just kind of hear what he's got to tell us.
Well, you don't want to start off hollering at people, do you?
No, I don't want to holler at anybody. There'll be no hollering.
There'll be no hollering.
No hollering. Mr. Stacy, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing great. Welcome to the Mac and Chuck Show.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Stacy, I just want to go through just a couple of quick things real quick. Tonight is really we want to hear about why you're running, what inspired you to run. If you would, just go ahead and give our viewers the town you're running for, the position you're running for, and then we do ask that all comments that you make and that are directly related to why you're running for office. as opposed to why someone should vote against someone.
Mhm.
We don't want to know why we should vote for you. So with that being said, we are keeping to a hard 7 minutes. So I'm going to start your timer now, and it's all you.
It's all you.
Well, I appreciate you having me. My name's Eric Stacy. I'm running for one of the open positions for the Granite City School Board. You asked what inspired me. What inspired me was as my day job, I am a police officer in the city of Granite City. For 8 years, I was assigned to the school district as what we call our SABRE officer. So I've just always had kind of a love for the school district and for the kids. And over the years that I was assigned to the schools, I had several teachers and administrators approach me, telling me that they thought I would make a good board member and that I should run. In the past, I just didn't know if I had the time to that it required, the time that you have to spend to do it. And now I feel like I do. And so again, I was approached and asked about if I would run. And so this time I was convinced, I guess, I don't know if convinced is the right word, to run for a position in the school board. There are 4 of them open, and it's kind of a pivotal time here in the entire city, and the school district plays a big part of that. If you have a strong school district, it's just a stronger city. So I've seen the school district from a unique perspective. I taught, as part of my assignment, I taught our anti-drug program to 5th and 6th graders. I filled in at the high school as the high school SRO. I spent a year at Coolidge at our junior high. When I first took over the SABRE program, I went school to school because we were in, at the time it was neighborhood schools, and now we've went to centers. So I've seen it from a unique perspective, and from both teaching and administration standpoint. I've worked with the board office previously in developing the emergency response plan for the district. I've taught the teachers intruder drill training. I've taught it at all the schools. So I've been involved with the school district for quite some time. And so this is just another, since I'm no longer assigned to the schools, this is my way, hopefully, of continuing to give back. So that's kind of why I'm running. And that's really who I am. I have a son who is a junior in high school, and I have 2 great nieces who live with me, who are, one is 5 and one is 2. So they're about to start in the school district. So I have a lot of interest in maintaining and making the school district as good as it can be.
Okay, awesome. So having a student in the school system, what specifically do you feel that you bring? Like, what specific set of skills? It's awesome that you were a SABRE and resource officer. What specific set of skills do you think that you bring that will benefit the school district? And you've got about 3 minutes left.
Okay. So I think the skills that I bring is that I have very good skills with interacting with both teachers and parents and what have you. I'm very approachable. I'm willing to listen to ideas. There's another Facebook page for our election site that I've tried to answer, people's questions and listen to them. One of the biggest issues that I've heard even before I was going to run was, as I mentioned, the neighborhood school, right? Granite City went away from that, and it has really caused a lot of anguish for parents trying to pick up their kids and things of that nature. And so that's one of the things that I hope that we can look at and see if we can't go back away from the centers and to the neighborhood school system.
Okay, gotcha. Great. If anyone has any questions for Mr. Stacy, are you open to questions coming from the viewers right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So, while we wait on a couple of questions to come through, you've got about a minute and a half left. Have you always been in the Granite City School District? Like, have your son, has he always been in the Granite City School District?
No, I came to Granite City in 2009 when I took a job as a Granite City police officer. I grew up in Cahokia. I graduated from Cahokia. I have two older sons who, when I came here in 2009, they entered the high school, and they were a junior and a sophomore. So they graduated from Granite City. But no, I have not always lived here. I've really grown. I came here to work as a policeman and care a lot about our city. So. Sure.
Well, it sounds like being a resource officer that you definitely have some familiarity with the system. So.
Yes, everywhere I go, I run into kids that I had in 5th and 6th grade and what have you. So it's quite enjoyable. So.
All right, awesome. Matt, any questions?
Not at this time. I don't.
A little fun fact. Actually, Eric Stacy was actually my saber officer whenever I was in 5th grade. In Mr. Morse's class. Yeah, man. He did a heck of a job.
Good.
Nice.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, Mr. Stacy, thank you very much for coming on tonight. We definitely appreciate you being here. And good luck on your campaign.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys again. You guys have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Too. All right. That was awesome. So.
See, that's what I like. Just throw it out there.
Right. Straight to the point. Let's hear what you're all about. So very cool. Thank you, Mr. Stacy. Next up, we actually have Mr. and forgive me if I say this wrong, Steve Raustio, I believe. He's going to let us know. Why don't you bring on Steve for us, DJ? Steve, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. Let me see if I can pull up the video real quick.
All right, sure.
I'll tell you what, if you can't pull up yours, you can take mine.
Well, I'm wearing a hat just like you, so we're twins. Wait a minute.
Many people would probably thank you for taking Max or my spot.
No, mine, not yours. You're pretty.
All right. I'm not going to be able to do it. So.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, no worries.
We've got the most important part, which is the speaking aspect of it.
Okay.
So, can you pronounce your last name for us real quick?
It's Rustio.
Rustio. Okay.
Rustio.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Rustio, we're going to go ahead and start the clock here, and then Same thing. Yep. If you wouldn't mind, just telling us again who you are, what position you're running for here in the city, and again just kind of what you plan to bring to it, and what you can do. So with that going, we're going to start your timer right now, and you're on, sir.
Yeah, sounds good. Like I shared with the two of you earlier, I wanted to leave as much time as possible for questions, but at the same time, I here. Can you see me now?
Yes.
There we go.
Little glare. Okay. Sorry about that glare. Hold on.
It's still daylight. You're good.
A little bit better.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, I'd like to leave some time for questions, but just to give you a little bit of history about my background. I started teaching back in 1987. I started at Collinsville Unit 10. Took a coaching job up in Highland, Illinois for a couple years, then went up to Petersburg Porta High School for 2 years, and then I came and I became the head boys basketball coach at Granite City High School in 2008, 2009. I also served as a teacher in the PE department for the past 12 years and also in the social studies department as well. This past year was very unique in terms of, this was my retirement year. And back in March 16th was, unfortunately my last day of teaching. So, with having gone through COVID and everybody was kind of in disarray and whatnot, I ended up keeping my coaching job, down in Dupo, but I went ahead and retired. my story is a little bit like Eric's because, like people have come to him and requested that he consider running for school board. The same thing happened with a few friends of mine once I retired. So, I thought long and hard about it, and I just felt like the timing was right. I'm currently the assistant cross country coach at Granite, and I'm also subbing at Granite right now. But like I said, putting my name in the hat and maybe trying to give back to the community a little bit that, in a position as a school board member, I thought was the right thing to do.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Now, there's a question that Angie had asked earlier, and I'm hoping that Mr. Stacy's still on so he can answer later on. But, besides neighborhood school issues, what would you like to accomplish within your position if elected?
Well, just talking about neighborhood schools for just a second, when your name is not in the hat and you're not looking for a public office, sometimes we can get in our daily grind and we're just kind of, it's not like we're aloof, but we're just not, tapped into what the community is saying, what they're thinking about certain things that relate to the school district and the decisions that are made from the central administration and the school board. But once I put my name in the hat, I started to try to tap into a lot of people, different people all over Granite City. And I tried to make myself as accessible as possible for people to actually ask me questions, via the social media, or just stopping me on the street or emailing me or texting me. I tried to make myself available to people with their concerns, and get back to the neighborhood schools. I like Eric, I would have to agree that if push came to shove, I would have to agree that the neighborhood school situation is probably what's best for Granite City. However, I say that, and there's two sides of every story. I talked to a couple people just recently that gave 2 or 3 reasons why not only did they go to the center schools, but they would stay with the center schools. I don't happen to be in that camp, but that doesn't mean that there aren't good reasons and maybe some fiscal responsibility back then, and even so now. That's something that we would have to look at closely and put our heads together. But like I said, I would have to agree and concur with Eric that that's probably what is best for Granite, especially coming out of COVID, some money coming from the federal government. Hopefully, some of that money can be not only earmarked for lost education, but summer school and some after-school programs, which I happen to be extremely big on. And would be willing to answer some questions in regard to that if someone had a question. But I don't know. When you're a board member, you're one of 7 people. I don't think that I'm going to plug everybody because I've made this public. I've made this known to everybody. I don't think the community of Granite can go wrong with the 5 choices they have, because the people that are running for school board right now, I truthfully feel in my heart of hearts that they will do a great job for not only the children in Granite City, but their families as well.
Awesome. That's a fantastic team attitude to have. And as a voter myself here in Granite City, I can appreciate that for sure. Yeah. So we've got about 1 minute and 15 seconds left. If you guys would have any questions that you'd like to ask, Rustio, correct?
Rustio.
Yeah, Mr. Rustio, please put those on here. And Mr. Rustio, we would actually, encourage you to stay on, for the remainder of the show, as questions may come up, or late, people may come on late or something.
And you can always address those in the comments as well.
Yes.
Sounds good.
We just wanted to make sure to give everyone that time to just give their stump speech. So with about 45 seconds left, is there anything else that you might want to share with our viewers or your constituents here in Granite?
Well, like I said, depending on who you talk to at any given time, people have different ideas about what should be done. What should be done at the high school, what should be done at the elementary level, where money should be spent. This is a big, complex thing. But at the same time, I think, like Eric alluded to, and I would have to agree with this too. I don't think time is our friend in terms of making some hardline decisions, because I think if we sit around and not take a close look at some of these things that, the one that's already brought up, and then some other things as well, we can find ourselves in a predicament 2 or 3 years down the road, and then I don't know if we'll be able to recover.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate you coming on the show tonight. It means a great deal to Mac and I both. I was a product of the Granite City school system.
So was I.
Yeah, both of us were actually out. So thank you very much. Please stick around for some extra comments. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, please go ahead and drop those in the comments, and we will make sure and get those answered for you. Steve, again, thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much.
So far, I'm thinking, this is going pretty good. I think we're getting some solid answers.
And you're doing well over there on that timer.
Yeah.
You're doing well.
Hey, you know what? I believe in equal and fair opportunity for everybody. And I'd like to avoid any lawsuits if possible.
Ooh, we don't have money for that.
Yeah, there's no way. We're not insured, folks. So, don't think anything like that. Again, thank you both to Mr. Stacy and Mr. Rustio.
Yeah,
thank
there you go.
you. Yes, for coming on the show and sharing your opinions and your viewpoints. It means a lot to those that are watching.
And we're just getting started.
We are just getting started. It's going to be a good show tonight.
Is that a Carpenter song? We've only just begun.
Please don't do that.
Oh,
we're
sorry.
trying to keep people on the show, not away from the show.
Okay.
So we're actually going to, we're moving right along here.
We're clicking in early?
And we are actually clicking in a little bit early. And we have got Mr. Curran, who is going to be coming on here soon. And DJ Whiteout, you want to add him to the show?
I'm glad I put 6:30-ish.
Ish. How you doing today?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Doing
Nice to
really
see
good.
you.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight. We definitely appreciate you taking time out of, I'm sure, what's a busy schedule. And
And a nice Sunday. Don't forget that.
Yeah, I was going to say I spent most of it outside.
Don't blame you at all.
yes, I've been pretty busy myself. So between church and I had an engagement shoot this afternoon, it was just so much fun to do. So Mr. Curran, is that how you pronounce your last name?
It is, yeah. Talon Curran.
Talon Curran.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what we're asking everyone to do is, for those who are watching, just to, tell obviously your name. We just tell us your name. Tell us the position that you're running from. What inspired you to run for that position? Running for, yes.
You're not running from
You
it.
may be running from it after elected, but
I think a few people told me I should start running already. So,
but yes, the position that you're running for, what inspired you to run for that position? And again, we're giving it, 5 to 7 minutes. We do have to keep to a hard 7, just to be fair to all the candidates. And, are you open to taking questions during?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start your 7 minutes right now, and go, Mr. Curran.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Talon Curran. I'm running for a seat on the Granite City School Board. I was appointed to the board in September. There was another member that resigned at that time. And if I want to stay on the board, I need to be elected on April 6th. I have 2 daughters in the district. So that's my main reason for running. One will turn 9 tomorrow. The other one will turn 7 in April. And my wife and I both went to Granite City School District, kindergarten through 12th. And I later went on to SIUE. I got a degree in mass communications. And then later I got another degree from SWIC, actually, in network design and administration. And a few IT certifications, because my day job is I work at the 6 Mile Regional Library District here in Granite City. So both the downtown location and the Johnson Road branch. I'm the IT and facilities manager there. And I've been here for about 10 years now, at least in that capacity. And so I handle all the networking and computers, as well as I oversee the maintenance and custodial staff for buildings and grounds. But I also handle, just because of an interest of mine, I handle a lot of local history questions about Granite City, Mitchell, and Pontoon Beach. And I'm on the board of directors for the Madison County Historical Society, which works in conjunction with Madison County. We oversee the buildings and collections at the museum and the archival library on North Main Street in Edwardsville. And then last week, I received an endorsement from the Granite City Federation of Teachers, Local 743. I like Eric Stacy and Steve Rustio. I'm also a proponent of neighborhood schools for Granite City over the attendance centers. I'd like to see us return to that model. I realize it will cost a lot of money to go back to that model, so we really need to see all the numbers, see if it's feasible, and then also just make sure that everyone is kind of along in that process with us and they can see those numbers. I am also a proponent of our vocational program at the high school, and I would like to see that get even stronger. I would like to promote vocational training as much as we do four-year college degrees. I'd also like to see it promoted more among girls. The way they're doing that at an earlier age with STEM, over the past decade. And, the high school, they're certainly keeping up. They actually just started a new esports club, and they just won a Rocket League game match, I guess I should say.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, and we're one of the few schools in the area that's doing that right now, but there's interest in spinning off from that club, like a class that shows these students how to build computers. Maybe, if we can tie that in with some kind of a certification like A+ or one of those. I'm just, anyway, I don't want to bore anyone too much with anything else, but, I'm from the area. I really want to see us succeed. I'd like to see us find ways to raise those test scores that everybody always talks about, that kind of determines what businesses you bring into the area and people who move there, how good are the schools? It determines a lot with real estate. So anyway, I'll, stop talking. And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
How about you?
Okay.
Do you have any since you live here?
I find it very interesting about the vocational program. I was part of the vocational program when I went to high school here in town. So I think that's a good point of view to have. And it seems to be kind of a hot topic. If you wouldn't mind, just real quick, for some people who may not be familiar, I no longer have children in the Granite City School District, but could you maybe explain the difference for those who don't know about what we mean by neighborhood schools?
Essentially, Granite City for years was neighborhood schools. So that was like kindergarten through 6th grade, or kindergarten through 5th later on, where your child attends that school, and it's generally kind of the school you're closest to. Sometimes they get chopped up funny, but normally it's kind of the closest school. So, you might have had 2 kindergarten classes, 2 1st grade classes, 2 2nd grade classes, and so on. And each time you moved up, you would probably know half the kids in your class. And over the course of your whole time there, you're going to know all the kids, at least in your grade, certainly. And then, and so teachers really like that model because they can just walk down the hall and talk to another teacher from the previous year and say, hey, you had so-and-so, how are they with this? Or I'm not getting through to them or whatever, which you can do it via email now, certainly, but there's a benefit to face-to-face communication. Attendance centers are currently what we have are pre-K and kindergarten are all at one building. So no matter where you live in 62040, if you've got a kindergartner, you've got to take them all the way out to Prather. Then 1st and 2nd, you've got 2 schools for that, Wilson and Maryville, or Wilson and Maryville. Got to get them straight there.
Yeah, I'm a Wilson alumni myself. So
yeah. So you'll go to one of those 2, and then 3rd and 4th you'll go to one of 2 schools. Then 5th and 6th everybody goes to Grigsby. 7th and 8th everyone goes to Coolidge, and then high school is high school.
Okay, great. So I have a question here that was submitted. What do you feel would be the biggest cost in doing that and reverting back to what would be an acceptable cost?
Acceptable?
Well, let's keep it.
Honestly, it would probably cost. It's going to cost a few $1,000,000. I don't think there's any doubt about that because we'd probably have to reopen 1 or 2 schools.
Okay.
And you're talking, you've got Niedringhouse School over by the park. That building needs millions to bring it back to where it can be a school again. And it would be great, but also you're talking about a building that was built, I want to say in 1929.
Mhm.
So do you put that kind of money into an old building or do you build new? Then you've got, we have this, we kind of have built-in issues where most of the parents by far want to go back to neighborhood schools. And if we told them we're going to reopen Niedring House, everyone who lived around Niedring House and went there themselves is going to be thrilled.
Mhm.
The problem is that there are people who are like, well, why would you put that much money into a building that old?
Right.
And so then you're going to make enemies that way. So you're never going to make everybody happy.
Never.
But it's part of the game.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Again, if you guys have any questions, we definitely invite you to at least stay part of the conversation tonight. Continue watch so people can see. If they have any questions directly for you, they can respond, or you can respond to them directly.
Mhm.
We would love to have you continue to be on it. And again, thank you for being on the show. We definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much for having me.
You're
My
welcome.
pleasure.
Okay, so we had a couple comments here during that time. We got a couple minutes before Miss Dollar-Riva comes on, and so I think that's interesting. I kind of thought that that's what they meant by the neighborhood
Right.
schools.
I mean, the phrasing sounds right. I mean,
Right. What are your thoughts on it? It's neighborhood schools in general.
well, ours, I guess, have the learning center in Edwardsville.
Mhm.
I'm sure our future guests can touch on that. I get where it is, and I see his point about dumping all the money back into it, especially the older buildings in Granite, since it was, that like Niedring House, it's been there for almost 100 years.
Right.
So there'd be a lot of structural things. There would be
Right.
a lot of, wiring issues, plumbing issues, things of that nature to get it back up to code
Sure.
to let the kids go. So I get that. Personally, I never really understood why they moved away from that model,
Mhm.
but that was after I left. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So Christina, she makes a comment here. Vocational training was what Granite schools did best back in the day. Having the steel mills around and refineries, I think the school missed the boat when they did away with it. I hope somehow y'all get it back. So that's definitely something for our candidates for school board to keep in mind. When you're going through, planning stages and things like that.
well, not only that, I mean, a lot of the careers now are going back to the trades.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And I'm not speaking against, a typical university degree or anything like that, but man, there's a lot of money to be made out there
There is.
in vocations as well. So Jessie Mercer, welcome to the show, Jessie. She says, I'm all for neighborhood schools. Bring that back. So, happy to have you chime in and glad to have you here on the show tonight. I think we're going to take a minute. We're just going to switch over to, I believe, the Edwardsville School District, right?
Yes, that's my grounds.
That's all you there.
That's all me.
All right. Well, I think that we're going to welcome Miss Dollar-Riva, Terry Dollar-Riva, to the forum here. And DJ, if you want to bring her in. Hello there.
Good evening.
Chuck and Mac, thank you for having me here tonight.
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Mac, I'm going to let you lead this one, my friend.
You're going to let me lead it? Why? Because I'm the Evo guy of the show? Is that what you're saying? Terry, it's great to have you here. I've seen a lot of your signs around town. You're welcome. Same thing with every other candidate we had on. What's your background? What position are you running for? Why do you feel you're the best person? What do you bring to it?
Thank you for those questions.
Terry, let me just remind you real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to remind you that all candidates are given 7 minutes, and we are kind of keeping that to a hard 7. But
My fault. My fault.
You're fine. You're fine. But please, the next 7 minutes is all yours, and we are excited to hear from you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm going to try not to talk too much. So I've been a board member for the past 6 years, and I really got started down that road because I believed in fiscal responsibility. I know we provide an excellent education, but at the time I felt like the voters needed some transparency regarding the school district budget. And since that time, well, first of all, I am self-employed as a realtor, a property manager, and a farm owner. I've lived here in Edwardsville almost all of my adult life. And also a parent of 4 Edwardsville graduates. My youngest just graduated last year. I would like to focus on some of my discussion on school district finance, academic instruction, and technology. As a board member, I chair the finance and policy committees, and I've been the finance committee chair for nearly 4 years. I take that stewardship very seriously, and over the last 3 years, we've seen our tax levy drop to $4.64 through bond refinancing and good fiscal management. I can keep talking.
No, like I said, the floor is yours. I mean,
Yeah, the floor is yours.
Sounds good. Anytime we talk about management of expenditures and finance committees, what we like to do is to discuss that within the context of a detailed strategic plan. And I think that's one of my objectives for this coming term, is to really talk about what are financial objectives in combination with that strategic plan. Some things that concern me as I look ahead are shared community concerns. So how are District 7 school populations changing and shifting within the schools? And how do we provide education in that context? For example, when the Nelson campus lease expires, what are our next steps? What does the community wish to do? And if we had a full set of details that provide background for Nelson campus, then we can begin to involve the community in getting answers to some of our questions. I think community input is essential. This is a big decision. One of the other objectives in my next term is to advocate for developing a long-term technology and replacement technology plan and replacement cycle. So I would like to see a plan that enables all students to have access to devices. The district committed resources to purchase devices for our teachers and high school students in 2020. Looking ahead, our middle school and elementary grades need universal access to devices. With additional federal funding of $2 million and the expiration of TIF 3 from the city of Edwardsville, that's almost $1 million. We hope to make possible devices starting at Liberty and Lincoln Middle Schools, and then continuing to K through 5 as funding permits. Technology offers a powerful tool to assist in both in-person and remote learning environments, but it doesn't replace a well-developed, updated curriculum. And so my other objective is to make sure that the board continues to adhere to a curriculum review that consistently brings academic excellence, and develop with that, develop a replacement cycle for technology that is financially well supported. So that being said, I think as a board member, I consistently have a list that's a mile long, and I'm always asking for things, and I'm always communicating with my community members. But I am concerned about finances because the state is determining right now that funding to education is going to be flat this coming year. And unfortunately, that puts pressure on our budget and on what we deliver. And I honestly think that my experience will help support a new superintendent and the administration as we look ahead to change. I continue to advocate for the essentials of education. We allocated resources in 2018 for the curriculum review cycle. We have a very strong curriculum department under the guidance of Tara Fox, and we've just hired a new superintendent, Dr. Patrick Shelton, and he promises, his experience is very valuable. He has experience with curriculum at both Parkway and Lee Summit school districts, and so I'm very excited about that. I will continue to advocate for career technical education and apprentice programs. I was listening to the last school board candidate from Granite City talk about vocational programs, and that's very important to me. My third daughter is a 737 pilot. She went to ground school in senior year in high school. She flies for Southern Cargo now. And so, when she was going through high school, she said, I want to be a pilot. And so she actually learned to fly her senior year. And so those are things that we know that not every child is taking the same path, and we try to develop curriculum in order to respond to the needs of all of our students.
Very cool.
So that's very important to me.
Very cool. So Terry, we got about just a little under a minute left. Mac, was there?
I had a quick question, if you could summarize it in about 30 seconds. With the way Edwardsville and the Glen Carbon area have been expanding so rapidly over the last few years, can you quickly describe what the plan is to really keep the schools up to date with all the people that may be coming in a quick amount of time?
Again, we're not seeing a whole lot of population change. I think what we're trying to do, and we're seeing some good commercial growth. So I'm hoping that that sustained commercial growth will help us as our budget is challenged by the state's funding of education. So I'm very positive about that. I don't think that's an issue. I'm very excited about some of the changes that we see throughout the school district. We have Columbus Schools, a Blue Ribbon School. Edwardsville High School just received recognition by the Special Olympics as a national unified champion banner school. I'm very proud of our students and our staff because they work very, very dedicatedly to make our school district a place of welcoming and acceptance. So that being said, I did want to close with just a few things on school policy. And I am the chair of the school policy committee. And we began a full policy committee review in late 2018. And we have, with the assistance of the ISB and all current board members, we participated and updated every single school policy. When we speak about change to education, the platform for it is in policy. We meet regularly to update policy for the Illinois School Code and the ISBE. And I'd like to say this, together with my other board members, I have a proven record that we can also change and improve policy as a direct result of community input. And that is very important to me. I'm very proud of it because I live in a community that asks for results, and I believe in delivering that. And so respectfully, I ask for the consideration of the voters and you. Thank you.
I appreciate that very much.
Terry, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. We appreciate it. We definitely, want to invite you to stick around and watch the rest of the show. So, some of the viewers, who might have questions, feel free to respond in the comments, however you'd like to.
Okay.
But, please join us again sometime. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with your candidacy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Sounds like she knows what she's doing.
No, she's been there.
Yeah, she's been there a little bit.
She's got experience.
Yeah, awesome. So we're actually going to reach out next. We're going to keep it in the Edwardsville area, and we're going to give a call to one of the mayoral candidates. We're going to be reaching her by phone to come on. And again, this is something that Mac is probably going to lead because this really affects him more. I might pop in with a question or two if I have it. We have, just to be fair, DJ, if you want to ring her up, that's fine. Folks, you're going to hear a little bit of ringing on the line just because of the way we've got it set up here.
One ringy-dingy.
One ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingy. But, we did reach out to all candidates that were listed both in the Belleville News Democrat, and we also reached out to the candidates in Granite City as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some responded, some did not, which is fine. We just wanted to make sure that we gave everyone a fair opportunity to bring them on. So that being said, I think we're going to bring on Miss Stephanie Malink. Okay. DJ, you got her on the phone for us?
Yes, I do.
All right. Miss Malink, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invite.
You're very welcome. So what we're going to do is what we spoke of before. We're going to open the forum to you. Just explain your background, the position you're running for, and what your ideas are to move that position forward and make it make it better.
And with that being
Sounds
said, Ms. Malik, we're going to give you 7 minutes on the clock, just like we've given every other candidate. We are trying to keep it to a hard 7 minutes. If you would like to take questions, we've got a forum here online that we're able to field those questions for you as well. And with
I
that,
will definitely take questions because I do not need to speak for 7 minutes.
okay. Well, with that being said, you may have the floor.
My name is Stephanie Malink. I am running for mayor of Edwardsville. I am running because I am an Edwardsville native and I am ready to see things change and go backwards just a little bit in Edwardsville. Right now, the comprehensive plan for Edwardsville has the population growing to 35,000 by 2035. We're currently, as of the 2010 census, at 26,600. This year's, the 2020 census numbers have not been released yet. I feel that this is a dangerous trajectory, especially in a post-COVID world, because people are fleeing Illinois at record rates. The schools in Edwardsville are already overcrowded, and to add that many new residents would require an increase in property taxes when most people in Edwardsville are already having a hard time paying for their property taxes. I feel like we need to work on the existing parts of the city. We have first in terms of infrastructure and helping people be able to make safety improvements to their houses. Right now, the historic preservation guidelines for many of our nicer, older neighborhoods are such that people cannot afford to replace rotting boards on their steps and porches, and that poses a safety hazard for the community. We also have a problem with affordable housing and apartments. Right now we have a lot of apartments in Edwardsville, but people have to live. It's usually geared towards college student rates where you can have 3 or 4 people living together and be able to afford the rent, maybe. I have concerns about the okay.
Take your time.
Yep. I want to see Main Street become better. I'm concerned with the Manny Jackson Center being empty right now and with the different political things going on. I feel the city of Edwardsville should, if the opportunity comes, buy that building from Lewis and Clark for a nominal fee, say $5, $10 intergovernmental agreement, and lease it out to people that would be interested in running a Edwardsville History Museum. That museum would contain information on the history of Lincoln School, which is what that building originally was. It could house the Ninian Edwards statue that people want to have moved from the center of town. The Pogue Wall from the old Rusty's restaurant that's across the street would be able to go in there, and also the mural that's on the old public administration building. We could also have a history of different neighborhoods in Edwardsville and just how Edwardsville got to be where it is. We don't need another convention center. We don't need more hotels. I'm very concerned about the expansion out Interstate 55 and Governor's Parkway. Again, we can't afford the population increase. We don't know what the post-COVID world is going to look like in terms of adding more hotels to the town and travel. We have office space and retail space in the existing part of the city that is empty. We have land in the city that has not been developed yet, that's been for sale and zoned for many years. That's pretty much it. I'm open for questions.
Okay. Well, Mac, why don't you open it up since he's your candidate?
Oh, okay, thanks. Stephanie, my only question is, you alluded to the 55 corridor going up and down Governor's Parkway. I know there's been a lot of work done there. The schools, there's I believe the Anderson Express Care has opened there. I'm not sure what they're building next to it. Is your concern more of a tax base, or is it the use of the rural land? What exactly is I'm not going to say your
My
problem. What's your
concern
concern?
is
Yeah.
the use of the rural land. I mean, the more we still have people on the planet, we still need food to eat. The more agricultural land close to us that we get rid of, the farther our food has to travel to get to us. That increases the carbon footprint because food has to transport over a longer distance. We have wildlife that is being squeezed out of town. The part I live in, we have deer wandering up and down the streets every night, possums, raccoons. It's a safety hazard, especially with the deer. When they walk out in traffic and people hit them, it can cause human life as well as deer life. So we need to let the animals have their space too.
I appreciate you answering my question very much. That is basically the only question I came up with based upon what you had stated. You still do have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. If there's anything you'd like to add.
I think like one of my advisors has told me, or not told me, but I've stolen it, I've been using it for my own. We have to work on the city that we have. You don't add an expansion to a house without fixing up the house you already have. Let's fix up the existing Edwardsville, get the sewers and the water system fixed, get sidewalks in all the neighborhoods and make them connectable, and then we can start thinking about expansion. I would like to see out on Chain of Rocks Road and Sand Road, that area, the city carved around those neighborhoods to be able to go out to Interstate 255 to build all the warehouses so that they could get tax money from that. Meanwhile, the neighborhoods that are in between there that were carved around do not have sustainable roads. They flood all the time. They need infrastructure improvements significantly. It will be just as large of a financial investment to fix up that area as it would be to expand new. And with the lumber prices soaring through the roof and new construction prices soaring through the roof, we really need to give those people a standard of living and let them be Edwardsville residents with all of the benefits.
Great.
Excellent. I appreciate it. And with that, you made it right to the end.
Yeah, she nailed it.
Wow.
Nailed it. Perfect. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We definitely appreciate it. It's interesting to hear the different points of view, and we appreciate you sharing your time with us tonight. And if you can, if you'd like to log onto the show when you get to a point, if you'd like to field other questions that people may have in the comments, we would definitely encourage you to do that. Because obviously the more people know, then the better your chances are at obtaining the office you seek. So thank you again very much for joining us tonight.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to put this comment up here.
You are.
I am. That Eric had posted, just saying that adding to the vocational program would be great. They currently have a great program, and it seems that a lot of our kids are interested in the program.
That's good to hear.
It is. I mean, there's really a lot to be said about the vocational programs in school, because we do have a couple minutes before our next guy comes on. And, so we definitely want to encourage all outlets, because I'll be the first to say I learn differently than other people do. College, the traditional universities did not, work out for me the way that I learned, but more hands-on training learned. And I think that a lot of that did start in high school. I took vocational auto in high school, and vocational foods as well.
Vocational foods.
Vocational foods. Hey, man, I love to eat me some food. I like to make it too, but every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Kathy has a comment here. It says we must regain as many vocational programs at GCHS, which were once part of the curriculum, as I understand. I'm kind of curious.
Well, when we went,
vocational,
they had what? Auto shop.
Auto foods. Like, I was serious about that. They have vocational
they
foods.
did.
Mm-hmm.
They had, good grief. I remember the machine shop.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck likes to make food.
I like to eat Lisa's food. She makes it here and I eat it. But
can't make it for anybody else, huh? You just got to eat everybody else's. Yeah, we know how that works.
I am a busy man. What can I say? I'm a busy, busy man.
Oh, it's in the fridge. It doesn't have my name on it, but I'll eat it anyway.
Lisa says, or Teresa says, auto, building trades, childcare, electrical.
Childcare.
Childcare.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah, and I actually remember when I went to Coolidge Junior High, I we did a vocational trades class, a building class, which was nice. Talon, who was on earlier, has sent us a message. Says computer-aided drafting is needed, and it's no longer available at Granite City. So, as voters, that's something that you might want to take into consideration when it comes to
asking of your candidates.
Yeah, asking of your candidates, even after they're elected. If your particular candidate doesn't win, and we always are proponents of you reaching out and utilizing your candidates, because ultimately everyone from the local offices to the state offices and to the federal offices, they typically work for us, and I think that's lost on a lot of people. Is they achieve a particular office, and this is in no way in reference to what I'm saying about any current candidates tonight, but I think in like the larger Washington D.C. area,
once you get up to the federal level,
once you get into those federal levels,
they just take the people for granted that get them there, and they really forget where they came from.
They do, which is why a show like this is so important, because it's important for you to know who you're voting for and who you're putting in the office up there. We've actually got our next candidate on here.
Right on time.
He is on time. Mr. Perrin, we're going to get to you in just a minute. I want to read this question because it might be something you might want to address during your speech. And it says, hey, Chuck and Mac. Hey, Bob. It says, my question for all communities is, what about the housing shortage? What are the candidates' plans on addressing the need for more housing? That's an excellent question. And if your office that you seek can address that, love to hear your opinions on that.
Absolutely.
And with that, DJ, you want to let Mr. Perrin enter the show?
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. How you
doing?
Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Well, yeah, trying to do my best.
What's that?
Housing shortage. That's the question, correct?
Well, that was one to kind of all
if it applies
all
to
communities, if it applies
to your purview.
Yeah.
Actually, we have an abundance of housing. What we need is people to fix them up or tear them down so we can have a quality housing for people.
I think I would agree with you on that, Mr. Perrin. So basically what we're doing here is we just have a couple general questions for you. We are trying to keep it to a hard 7 minutes for everybody to respond and answer questions in that. We would love for you to just maybe give us your name, the position you're running for, what city you're running for, and just so all of our viewers know, because some may not. And then what inspired you to run for your position, and what do you hope to accomplish? And with that being said, I'm going to give you your 7 minutes. And if we have time, are you willing to take questions?
If that's what you want to do.
Okay, awesome. Let's say what? 7 minutes is yours, and you're on, sir.
My name is Terry Perrin, lifelong resident of Granite City. I am running for the Alderman of Ward 1. It's basically the poorest area of the Granite, West Granite, North Granite, Lincoln Place, on the Madison side of Niedering House behind the hospital, and over 203 before it turns into Madison. And I'm running for alderman basically because our neighborhoods are getting really bad. We got a lot of vagrants walking the streets. We're always buying cameras, and there's lots of burned down and busted up houses. They're breaking in, stealing all the copper wiring out, leaving them in shambles, and it's just getting to be bad. So I called my alderman, and nothing was getting done. I'm not a politician myself. I'm pretty good with problem solving, and I said I'm going to run, and here I am.
All right, awesome. So when you talk about the condition of the housing and that actually kind of ties into the question that Bob had asked, about housing, and it sounds a little bit like your concern in that particular area is more about the living conditions, the housing, and just maybe, did I misread it? Maybe crime rates in that areas, or?
That's correct.
Okay, awesome. So what is your specific plan? Like we understand that, you're dissatisfied with, the previous alderman, I guess, but what is your specific plan to address these needs and to correct this and make that area a better place for the people who live there and that are going to be voting for you?
Well, all my original ideas, I find out that I'm not allowed to do. I just like to bulldoze them down, but we're not allowed to do that. One of the plans I had was to try to teach people how to have good credit, teach them how to deal with C&D lenders, and put people that want to rent a house, that's been renting a house, good people, where they can own their own house. And that might be attractive to some of these houses. Also, maybe get the people that's investing and already working on them to want to sell them contract for deed, because a person buying a house is more likely to keep their payments up, keep the houses up, and they won't just get them tore up where they got to fix them again in a couple of years. And the ones that can't be saved, figure out how to get past this red tape they keep talking about, and tear them down and either build new ones or sell the house next door so they can have a bigger yard. I bought one beside my house myself to make my yard bigger.
Okay. Now, would you be in support, just out of curiosity, would you be in support of any kind of city funding to help that occur, or is that kind of out of your purview? I'm not real familiar with the alderman position, so, I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, if we talk about city funding, to me, it sounds like they charge the taxpayers.
Okay.
And the taxpayers didn't make it like this, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Bad decisions in the past have made it worse and worse. And I don't think the people should have to pay for that. We need to learn how to think outside the box to get some of this stuff done. Maybe we can get the neighbors to pull together to maybe buy a house on their block as a group. And maybe they can work on it. Maybe even bring Habitats for Humanity in and fix these houses up for people.
Gotcha.
But I'm not big on city funding, because that's really us paying the bill.
Okay, that's good to know, and I'm sure that that's a question that a lot of people are going to ask when it comes to that. Now, you did mention education. What would be your plan? Would you want to hold citywide educational groups on better building credit and better financial responsibilities, or is that something you'd want to kind of confine to your specific district, or how would you approach that?
Well, I've been passing out a flyer to the different houses, because I didn't spend no money on signs and all that. Put together a Facebook page, kind of like they did in Lincoln Place. That's one of the areas of Granite City. And it's become a really good idea for even security. They're posting pictures of this shady characters looking in my yard. This street's all flooded. And they're making awareness with their whole community. And I think we put the community together where they start tying into a page like that and working with one another. Some of this stuff, the citizens can actually fix a lot better, because there's a lot more power when there's a lot of people speaking for you.
Sure. And, you mentioned the city flooding, and that's a question we're going to address later on with one of our other candidates. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, we appreciate you being on the show. You've got right about 2 minutes left, in your particular time spot. Mac, do you have any questions?
I don't. No.
Okay. So if you were to give just a quick 30 to 45-second speech, kind of a stump speech, what would you say specifically if you were talking to someone knocking on their door right now, why they should vote for you?
One of the things I'd just ask is, are you happy with the way it's been going?
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing bad to say about the candidate I'm running against. He's a very nice person. Matter of fact, everybody I've met in the city are nice people. But we got to get things done, and it hasn't got done so far. I tell them I can't promise I'll get it done, but I am good with problem solving. I'm good with time management. I have to be. I still work for a living. I am not drawing a pension or a retirement from anywhere. I still have to pay my bills just like them. I'm one of the citizens trying to speak for the rest of the citizens. That's all I'm doing. And I think it's working. Okay, great. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. Like every other candidate, we want to invite you to just, continue watching the show throughout, until we're done. And if someone, poses a question in the comments, please feel free to respond. And for those of you who are watching, we definitely want to encourage you to send those questions either to us. You can do it through a private message,
where you can just post them here publicly, because you never know when someone may be thinking the exact same thing that you're thinking. And we definitely want to hear what everyone has to say about it, so we can have the best decision and the best information that we can.
Well, this is their show.
It is.
I mean, this is their show. This is their elections. This is their future for the next 2 to 4 years. So definitely invest in this.
Right. Mr. Perrin, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and we hope you'll enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So it's really interesting to hear, some of the comments that our candidates are making on here, because it sounds like they're addressing some real world, I say real world issue, but some, I don't think I've heard anything superficial yet.
No, I think you and I both have a pretty good ear for the so-called, that meter. Yeah.
Right.
But I think what I'm hearing are people that are engaged, that care about their communities, that care about their specific area of expertise, or maybe not expertise, their area. It looks like they've done a lot of research through experience or
quite a few options here in town, if you look for them, and maybe that's a show that we'll cover at some other point. I'm sure that there are TIFs available in the town for businesses in both Granite City and Edwardsville, and maybe even the town that you live in, if you're not a local resident here in our little section of the Metro East. So, our next candidate, we actually, let's see where we at here.
Got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes. So, get those questions into us. What are your thoughts so far as, from what you've heard?
I'm enjoying listening. I've always been a big politic guy, as far back as I can remember. But I don't really consider these politics. These are engaged citizens.
Yes.
That really care about the communities they live in, and they're looking to make it better.
Right.
I don't see anybody we've spoken to or anybody we will speak to that are just in it for the money, or the popularity that may come with it. I see engaged people that really care about the school board or the ward they live in, or the city as a whole, as some of these candidates that we have on tonight are running for mayor. So it's really great to hear these ideas on, things that unfortunately we've seen since we were kids living here are still going on. And it's great to have this kind of forum to really hear the ideas. And this is what I want to do. And they seem positive and upbeat. I haven't heard any negativity yet tonight.
Right. I haven't either. And that's something to keep in mind, because I'm 47, spent a good deal of my life in Granite City, left, came back, I'm back. I think Granite City as a whole is a really good city to live in. And I think there are a lot of citizens out there that want to see change, and a lot of citizens that want to see good things. And that's what I'm seeing here tonight. If you're watching the show right now and you've got someone that you think needs to hear what's going on here, please feel free to share the show, because I'm going to be honest with you. As a voter, I don't know that, and maybe I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't know of a forum that's been available that comes directly to your living room or to your phone anywhere recently that tells you on a local level what your candidates actually have to say. Like, you're hearing it directly from their mouths right now. You're not hearing this from
secondhand sources.
Secondhand, you're not hearing it written in the media. This is all unedited. That's why we're doing it live. So we definitely appreciate that. So share the show, get your friends on here. If you have questions, go ahead and shoot us some questions. We've still got a couple candidates on here, and we're waiting on another candidate that will hopefully be cooking in here soon. So get those questions to us. Eric, Mr. Stacy earlier has said that Building Trades has been building and selling houses for the past several years, and I believe it's still going strong.
And that's good to know, because I didn't even know that. There's a lot of people that may not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And if they have the resource to find it, they can really push that avenue forward.
Yeah. And, speaking to the housing issue that was addressed earlier, if I recall, there used to be a project that the Building Trades in the high school had, that you actually went and built a house, like you built a full house. And that was, I forget.
Sorry, it's been a few decades ago.
It's been a little bit since we've been there, but
as you could tell,
that would be something that would be a great thing to do as well. And I don't,
especially tying that in with the vocational they want to bring back.
Yeah,
that's a great community tie-in.
we figure it's community tie-in. It is experience for the individual who's in school doing, that needs experience. Like if they go to a construction site and, the guy says, do you have experience?
Mm-hmm.
The kid can say, yeah, I've got experience. I was in building trades.
Right.
I built a house.
Right. I rehabbed the house.
Right. Whatever it was. Yeah. So got another message here. It says there's talk about using building trades at the high school to help repair some of the rundown housing in Granite City.
It's a great idea.
It's a fantastic idea. If approved, this would be an intergovernmental agreement between the school district and the city of Granite City. What a great and wonderful idea that is. And
not only do you get rundown housing built back up to code, it increases the property value, increases the tax revenue, not only gives the high school students high school credit, but it wouldn't even be great if they can get college credit for that.
Yeah, some college credit. And again, it goes back to the experience. It goes back to, and not only that, it gives them a sense of purpose for living in Granite City and being in Granite City, because they can drive by a house or something 20, 30 years later, after their kids are growing or whatever, and say, you know what? I built that house.
Right.
I was part of that house. I've got blood, sweat, and tears into this city. And I think that's, really a great, kind of a great legacy to leave behind,
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So let's see what time we got. Let's see if okay, so we're going to bring this question from Bob. What are the candidates' plans for bringing jobs and new businesses into Granite? And what about where the old Shop and Save and Kmart buildings are? Can we put a Costco or Sam's type business there? What about our Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Office? And how are they going to be utilized by our new mayor?
Great question.
So those are great questions. And when we get our mayoral candidates on here, when their time slot comes in, we can address those questions for sure. I think that, kind of in line with, and this is just my opinion, that, we have Edison's up in Edwardsville, which it's a nice entertainment complex. I'm not sure if some of you have been there or not before, but something like that, I think in Granite would be great.
Well, not even that, but in Collinsville and in Edwardsville, they took both Kmart buildings. Well, in Collinsville it was Walmart, and in Edwardsville it was Kmart, and they refurbished those and built Kohl's out of them.
Nice.
So I mean that's something that can be done in the area, but it has to come from a city government agreement.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about?
What are your ideas for the Shop and Save building or the Kmart building?
Yeah. Now, I was actually driving by there the other day. I quick plug here, went by City Buzz to get my haircut, and they do a great job there, by the way. So, but I was thinking, like when we were younger, inline hockey was kind of a thing. I mean, turning is the stadium still over in St. Louis? Do they still have the stadium over there off Loughborough? Do you know?
No. Well, they have in Township Park in Edwardsville, back in the corner, they have an actual skating rink with fencing around it that people go out there and play. It's fantastic.
Okay. Christina says, problem is even Lowe's went out of business. Okay, here in Granite they did. Yeah, what happens to all the big businesses? How about some small businesses and give small businesses credits to open up shop? Now, that's a great point, Chris. And what I will say is that here in Granite, I know that there are opportunities for small businesses. The processes, I was kind of getting it at the beginning stages of that about 3 years ago when I relocated back here to Granite City. And so I know that those are available. I just don't, being as I'm not a politician and I'm real familiar with the way Granite City politics work, I don't know what the processes are to get those. But it's a really good point about small businesses because I think that Granite City would thrive off of small businesses. No, I'm not running for mayor.
But certain people have their way, you may be.
If certain people had their way, yes, they would. Angie brings up a good point here. 24-hour child care facility.
Because people just don't work first shift, right?
Right. I mean, that's true. I mean, especially being in a steel mill city, I'm not sure what the shifts are out there, but
they run 24.
Do they?
24/7.
So, there's got to be child care needs there. So that's a great point.
But again, with that type of situation, you would have to look at the liability, the insurance. Is it even feasible to do? I mean, it's a great idea,
Right.
but unfortunately, there's all these factors that play into that. Like I said, the insurance, there's state mandates that you have to meet. I don't know of any 24-hour care facilities that are open in Illinois. Just from a liability standpoint or a feasibility standpoint. I mean, it's a fantastic idea, and I'd like to see it happen just for those people that, especially with all the industrial parks that are being built off of 111.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of shift work going on.
Huge.
So let's get Jesse's message here. Says the truth is that we have a massive PR problem. We need a campaign to massively change the public perception of our community. To get small business, you have to attract small business and people who want to shop here. Jesse, that is an excellent idea and an excellent point. And I'm going to address that here in just a few minutes. We do have our next candidate on here, and we've got Mr. Richard Cohen's going to be joining us. And he, I believe, is a mayoral candidate for here in Granite. So we're going to give him an opportunity to speak uninterrupted, and we're going to bring him onto the show. Mr. Cohen, how you doing tonight?
Hi. I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
We're doing pretty good. So basically what we've been, is with all the candidates, we're given 5 to 7 minutes, to just kind of address your constituents here in town. And we'd like you just to kind of, tell us your name, tell us what you're running for, and why you're the best candidate. And sir, the floor is yours.
You're kind of going in and out. But I believe you said why I believe I'd be the best candidate for the job for mayor of Granite City.
Yes, that is our primary concern, and why we would like you to talk to your potential constituents here.
Yes, I believe I'd be the best candidate for mayor of Granite City because I would bring the people together to help pick up trash and in their neighborhoods and help do neighborhood watches. Also bring up the spirit of Granite City by having dances and prep rallies at the high school and stuff like that at an outdoor theater that I want to put down there to bring the people together.
Okay, could you repeat that last part for me, please?
Yeah, I want to have an outdoor theater that would be open to the public at the Granite City High School to bring the community together to watch movies free on Friday and Saturday night. Have families bring food and everything there and watch a free movie on a Friday and Saturday night. And then also for the high school and for the kids at Granite City to have a stage in front of that outdoor theater so that we could have plays for the elementary kids and for the junior high kids and for the high school kids. And they could have their prep rallies there and also have some, concerts or stuff like that kids could put on.
Gotcha. So your platform, would you consider to be more community driven and community involvement?
Yeah. I want to help the people of Granite City to be able to help themselves and their neighbors. And we all got to do it together. And by helping one another, we can just open a door for somebody. We can buy somebody lunch that we don't even know. Pick up someone's trash in front of a Dollar Tree or a business or somebody's home. Help thy neighbor. It all starts with the individuals. One good individual can help another individual and then pay it forward.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Now, how would you feel that you would enact that plan? Like, what steps would you take personally to enact a plan like that?
Well, I like making people happy, and so what I do is I go to certain taverns. I don't drink. I drink 7-Up, and I dance for the people at the taverns and help bring up the spirit. I play happy music dance and music. That's how I want to bring up the spirit. The people seem to enjoy it. They get up and dance with me, and I invite anybody to come out and dance and have fun.
Okay, great. Now, Mr. Cohen, would you be willing to take a couple of questions, because we have some specifically for the mayoral candidates?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
That's okay. We have a couple of questions that are specifically for the mayoral candidates. Would you be open to taking a question or two?
About the other candidates?
No. I have a question specifically for you, addressed specifically to you. It says, how will you actively work to change the perception of Granite City? What outlets would you use, and will you seek out expertise from consultants that have helped other communities?
Well, let me see. I want to make sure I say this right.
Sure.
To give an example, we have a Hope for Women's Clinic by the hospital, and I believe that that individuals that are seeking Planned Parenthood, that they should be able to have all their options weighed out before them, have literature inside that clinic so that they know that they do have options like adoption, Big Brother, and foster care, and also the military. If the people are doing the Planned Parenthood thing, that they can get a job in the military to raise their child. And also to elaborate on that, that they be given the chance to hear the heartbeat and have an ultrasound, because 80% of the women that do that change their mind in regards to not going through with that life.
Gotcha. So there was one more question that we're asking all the mayoral candidates, and it's been asked on the public forum here, is what is your plan for bringing jobs and new businesses into Granite? And, what would your plans be for like the old Shop and Save and Kmart buildings? And we got about a minute and a half left.
Okay. Yeah. Simply, we got to get the streets done properly, and all the entrances to Granite City, the trash needs to be cleaned up, and that should be a community effort. And the Public Works Department, they should get involved in that, because when people enter the city of Granite City, they should see that it's clean. And when they go shopping in our shopping areas, they should see that the parking lots are clean, and that they're paved properly, and that the streets of Granite City are paved properly. Because I heard too many times, a little birdie told me at Applebee's that her mother doesn't like to come to Granite City because the streets are not done properly, and there's a lot of potholes. So if all of our streets are done properly, people will come.
So it sounds like your platform is just to pretty much clean up Granite City as a whole, bring it a better perspective, and just kind of neighbors helping neighbors. Would that be a good summation of your candidacy, you think?
Yeah. People helping each other, and let's bring the spirit up.
Awesome. I've got Mac, did you have a question for us?
I did not.
All right, awesome. Well, Mr. Cohen, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show tonight. And, just like, every other candidate, we encourage you to, continue watching the show. And as people have questions, they may post them in the comments. If, you want to make a comment through a private chat, that's fine also. And I can, announce it over the broadcast. But, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we appreciate it. And good luck on your candidacy, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. So it's good to hear from a mayoral candidate.
It is.
Yeah, and he again to make sure that we give equal and fair airtime to everybody. First of all, Jesse, thank you for the questions. We appreciate that. I appreciate everybody's questions and comments. And also, we reached out to all the candidates. Some responded, some didn't, which is fine because, like I said, we wanted to make sure we give everybody an opportunity.
Everybody was afforded the opportunity to come on.
Yes.
And we were ready to do a 3-hour show if we had to.
Yes. So, I mean, we're definitely, going to run. We're already running long tonight, which is good.
But you know what? We're on time.
You know what? Yeah, we're on time. And actually, it was nice. I got to hear from one of my mayoral candidates that spoke directly to me. And not only that, but got the opportunity to speak to a bunch of other people also.
Right.
So very nice, very nice. So we're going to have.
How many more we got? We got two Granites, 2 Evils left.
I think we got 2 Granite and 2 Edwardsville, not Eville. I like Edwardsville.
You don't live there. You can't call it.
I used to live there. Well, I guess technically I lived in Glen Carbon.
You lived in Glen Carbon.
Yeah. So, okay. So our next slot that we have here will be someone from Granite City also. And we got just a couple minutes before he comes on. So, again, let us know in the comments what you guys are thinking, or give us feedback. Are we asking questions that you want to hear about? Are we being too soft? Should we be a little more, detailed in our questions?
No, I don't think we should be. You said soft.
No, I think moderating is,
right.
That's where we belong.
I've never been a fan of the gotcha questions, and I never will be. I don't think they have any place, even though it happens on a national level all the time. I can't stand it. Tell me why you're doing this, why I should vote for you, not why I shouldn't vote for the other guy.
Right. I could give 2 craps about why I shouldn't.
I want to know what you do.
Right.
What's your view? What are your plans? That's what I want to know.
Right. The thing of it is, most of us already know why the other guy's being, run against or has an opposing candidate. We really want to know why you yourself are running. So our next guest that we're going to be bringing on is Mr. Frank Doss III, and he's going to join us. He's another Granite City candidate. And DJ, why don't you bring him on board for us? Mr. Doss, how you doing tonight?
Fine. How you doing?
We're doing wonderful. Thank you. So I want to welcome you to the show. I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So what we're doing, Mr. Doss, is like we had discussed privately before, about 5 to 7 minutes per candidate. So if you wouldn't mind, we're going to give you the screen. Just give us, your stump speech, who you are, why you're running for office, what you feel you could bring to the office, what inspired you to run for office, and, just why people should vote for you. And with that being said, I will set your clock here. And Mr. DJ, our engineer, is going to give you the floor.
All right. Well, once again, thank you very much for having me. Very appreciated. It's the first time I've heard of your show, and I really, really like it. So I think you gained a new listener as well.
Thank you.
My name's Frank Doss. I'm running for the alderman for Ward 2 in Granite City, Illinois. I've lived here for 38 years. Both my wife and I have, and I've been married for 38 years as well. I've been actively involved with the community, especially in regards to the upkeep of neighborhoods, property owners, the infrastructure, streets, and over the years I've expressed my opinion on multiple occasions, going all the way back to the Ron Self administration. Some of my initiatives and concerns are, I don't feel that the constituents always understand how to communicate with the government. It's hard work. You have to keep good records. You have to follow up. I've learned over the years, and it's very common anywhere in business, politics, anything. You may express an idea or suggestion or have a complaint. It goes into nowhere. Well, I'm a very persistent individual, and I've learned that through my business career and taken leadership positions in various companies. So I want to be there. I'm going to be proactive in communicating to the Ward 2 constituents, like once every 3 months. Let them know that I've taken their complaints, our concerns, our suggestions to the mayor and others. Let them know what the response is. If there's been no response, that's fine as well. I just really feel that there's a need for some proactive communication and transparency. I'm very concerned about the urban blight. A lot of the other candidates have expressed their concern as well. You know, there's some macroeconomic factors and some microeconomic factors that have contributed to the decline, and you know what a lot of people consider a decline of Granite City. In other words, the population has decreased here substantially, about approximately 11% since 1990. The income, the average income of our residents below 25,000 people, or below $25,000, is approximately 42% higher than average for similar cities. So when you have a lower income residents, population decline, it's very challenging for the government to be able to do everything on their own, quite frankly. And we're at a stage, I believe, where we need to join together, and it's going to take some leadership. Matter of fact, I believe there's one mayoral candidate. I'm praying, I'm hearing that he has a lot of plans, and I'm willing to partner with him. We've had discussions over the past few years regarding neighborhoods and particular landlords. And because I think it's been a slow decline over the years, and then all of a sudden it just pops up and you look around and say, oh, wow, things have really changed. Well, they've changed over a period of time. It's just gradual. So I have a lot of concern about landlords, particularly landlords who, quite frankly, they don't care about the community. They're just caring about making a good buck. Matter of fact, I went up to a foreclosure auction up in Edwardsville approximately 6-7 months ago. Because I've been doing some research on property owners, and I recognized one of the property owners that has multiple properties in Granite City. And after the bidding was done, I sit there and we had a nice little chat. And he's one of the better landlords. And since our little chat, one-on-one, I explained to him, he told me, hey, I'm just trying to make a living, Frank. And I said, I appreciate that. I said, I know where you live, and it's an extraordinarily nice home. So I just appreciate that you would take care of your properties and make sure the tenants have a good place to live. So I want to provide support to the tenants. I've talked to some already where their landlords are not being receptive to them. And that's kind of a challenge taking that to the government because then if the home has to be red tagged, then the tenant has nowhere to go potentially. I think there needs to be some responsibility on that end. I also want to provide support to the quality landlords. We do have some good landlords in the area. And we have some not so good landlords. Matter of fact, there's one particular property owner that I've been watching very closely. He started out with about 4 properties in 2009, most of them in Ward 2, and he's up to right around 32 now.
Gotcha.
So I want to raise awareness to the government and to the community in regards to Section 8 properties. If the Section 8 properties are not being kept up to Section 8 standards, we should be very aggressive in discussing that with the government and the HUD people. Also, I will be very persistent in supporting all of the constituents' concerns, ideas, and suggestions. Once again, I just think that people feel that they're invisible. I felt that way. And then I said, okay, well, Granite City is essentially a business. And I have both a blue collar background early in the days, and I have a white collar background running divisions that are larger than Granite City's budget. I'm also an analyst. I have a finance background as well. So I'd like to provide the constituents the support how to get things done and hold people accountable, while providing support to those in government that actually want to get something done.
Gotcha. Mr. Doss, I apologize, sir. We've got a question that's been asked directly of you. And do you mind if we ask this question real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the question's been asked, do you believe that the taxing policies at the state level are contributing to the macroeconomic factors in the decline of our city? So you'd mentioned the macroeconomic, situation of our city earlier. And so, Jesse is asking here, do you believe that the taxing policies at the state level, that they're contributing to the macroeconomic factors in the decline of our city? And we've got about 45 seconds.
Okay, I would say that's an excellent question. I would say that's a contributing factor from the state perspective as far as what's going on, particularly in the Chicago area. Boeing, I think, moved out of Chicago a few years back. It doesn't have that much of an impact on Granite City. And the reason I say that is because of the microeconomic factors and the geography. We do have some challenges. And the reason I say it's not contributing that much is because if you look at cities like Edwardsville and Glen Carbon, since 1990, their populations have gone up approximately 41%. And their spending per capita is almost double what it is in Granite City. So they have the resources, the funds, the home values are high. So I don't think at all that's a contributing factor to Granite City. We have a stigma to turn around. I think we may need to look at how we do things and have a strategic plan. And I'm willing to provide my opportunities to the mayor. Maybe it's not, we just got to change the approach, run the city like a business. And sometimes that means making very, very difficult decisions.
Gotcha.
There may be some things we can do with the land where the homes are in decline. I don't necessarily think it was a great idea having Walmart and Lowe's out there on Route 203. Those corporations kind of required it. Then you have the challenges with property owners. If you see successful cities nowadays, they have a nucleus of a city. Combine residential, retail, everything's nice and convenient. Typically down the one road. Look at Edwardsville, that's what they do. They're shopping, Best Buy, Sam's Club, Home Depot, Lowe's, all right down the same street. That's what creates a vibrant economic environment.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And just so everyone knows, you're running for Ward 2 Alderman. And if you wouldn't mind, just real quick, and then we got to get to our next candidate. Just so the people who are watching, let us know what Ward 2 is, so they know that you're speaking directly to them.
Okay, Ward 2, for the meat of Ward 2 is basically where behind Madison Avenue towards Edwardsville Road, like from the hospital all the way to Knee Greenhouse Avenue, and then just a few more blocks on the other side of Knee Greenhouse Avenue, and then a section, I guess you would say it's behind Prairie Farm, State Farm.
Okay.
Prairie Farm, 7-Eleven, that area.
Okay. All right, awesome. Well, Mr. Doss, thank you so much for coming on. There were a couple other questions. We're out of time for direct answers, but if you wouldn't mind just, following through the show, there are a couple questions I think that you might find interesting and that your constituents would love a response from you. And Jesse does say thank you for that clear answer and he agrees with you. So thank you very much for coming on the show. We appreciate your time tonight. And good luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
So, pretty clear, pretty concise about what he's wanting to do.
Absolutely.
So I think it's good that he's, had the conversations with landlords.
Mm-hmm.
So he's, again, like you mentioned earlier, he's taken a pretty active stance. And
you have to. You really do. If people feel that you're in touch with them, that's where the community progress starts.
Right.
If you're in touch, if you communicate with your constituents, if you communicate with the people, the town of a position you're running for, that's where it all begins. You motivate the people, you can get things accomplished a lot easier. I
agree 100%. And motivation is what's driving most of the individuals that you're seeing tonight to run for office. So, good luck to all the candidates that are going to be running. And I think with that, we have another mayoral candidate that's going to join us. Only this time, we're going to move a little east. And we're going to let Mr. Mac McKenzie handle this one. And tell you what, DJ, why don't you bring on our next Edwardsville candidate?
Good evening.
Hi there. How are you?
Good. How are you tonight?
I'm doing excellent.
Fantastic. And same thing to you. First, thank you for coming on, giving us the time. We really appreciate it. What we're going to do, again, just who you are, what position you're running for, what is the big focus and ideas that you can bring to it. And as always, we got a strict 7-minute timer here. So with that being said, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank both of you, Chuck and Mac, for inviting me tonight to your podcast. I'm really excited to be here. A little bit about myself. My name is Art Rizvi. I live in Edwardsville, and I am a candidate for mayor. I graduated from a little bit of my background, if that's okay. I graduated from Boston University with a degree in international relations. My wife's name is Rhonda, who's an HR professional. My son's name is AJ. He's graduating college this year at Lincoln Memorial University, and he'll be attending law school at St. Louis U next year. After graduation, I started working for a local bank where I was a division manager for 5 years before I started working for the family business, which I've been working there throughout my whole life, but full-time for roughly over 22 years. We have 2 stores, one in Edwardsville and one in Collinsville. And we sell all musical instruments of every kind. We also give music lessons at both stores, and we install sound systems, mainly at churches and schools, boardrooms, and mostly with churches and school gyms, but really anywhere that needs a sound system. I have been alderman for 10 years. I've been volunteering in the city. Even before that, I started as on the school board at my son's school, and then I was precinct committeeman. And then for the last 10 years, this is my 3rd term, I've been alderman. And I am currently the chairman of the Administrative and Community Services Committee. And I have also past chairman of the Finance Committee, and I've served on all committees. These experiences, I feel, will help me as a small business owner, and also my past history as a 3rd term alderman to lead the city through the next 4 years. I've had the great opportunity to work with and for 2 mayors, 3 city administrators, dedicated department heads and city employees, but most of all for the citizens of Edwardsville. Some things that are important to me, and I'll just run through them as quick as I can because I know I have 7 minutes, is public safety. I'm a big supporter of our police and fire because citizens, that's usually one of the most important things to them, is they want to feel safe in their community. So we'll continue to support the police and fire departments with the training and equipment they need to keep everything moving in our city. And also we have to focus on funding their pensions. Pension funding is a big issue now among many cities with their police and fire, and we're going to make sure we stay on point with funding their pensions with the necessary funds that need to be put towards there, because it needs to be 80% funded by the year 2050. Infrastructure, one of the biggest things, probably hand in hand with our police and fire, is the one thing that matters mostly to the citizens that I talk to is improving their roads, their streets, and their sidewalks. And that's a must, and we'll continue to do so with the 7 aldermen that we currently have. Water quality and production, we do need to make some upgrades in the next 5 years or so to our water plants that are very old and aging, and we'll have to make sure that we plan ahead. Manage growth opportunities within our city. We're always looking to grow all areas of our city. We want to focus on North Main Street and the I-55 corridor, but also everywhere in our cities, we're looking for opportunities. Parks and recreation. I don't know if you know much about the city of Edwardsville, but our mayor has done, Mayor Patton, over the past 8 years has done a tremendous job making sure that we have quality parks. We have 4 new parks under his leadership. And what I would like to do is wrap around and take a look at some of our older parks to make sure they're on par with our newer parks, so we have a consistent level of quality in the city of Edwardsville. Downtown parking is something we're looking at. It's a real issue with our aldermen. We're looking at potentially increasing our parking downtown, and we're looking at opportunities to do so. Racial diversity within the city of Edwardsville is something that is important. We've started to target that by looking at our Human Relations Committee. And also from that, we're looking at an affordable housing study. We're also looking at diversity training, and we're also looking to growing our Human Relations Committee that will look at diversity issues within our city. And finally, is continued support of some very important things in our city, which is our public library, the Main Street Community Center, the Stevenson House, the Edwardsville Children's Museum, our Wildy Theater, and also the Watershed Nature Center. All of those things are important to me, and those are things that I'm going to be focusing on in the next 4 years if I'm fortunate enough to be elected to be the next mayor. And that's really what I wanted to say tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this podcast, and I am here if you have any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I did have one question, which I posed to the previous candidate for mayor as well.
Mm-hmm.
The I-55 corridor up through Governor's Parkway, there's a lot of expansion going on. What would you as mayor like to see come into that area? Would you like it to be more, medical as it is now, maybe school? What is your vision for that corridor right there?
Well, one of the things that we do on council, and we've done over the past 10 years, is we really plan. Most of our meetings are focused on planning long-term for the city of Edwardsville. So even though right now people are talking about the I-55 corridor, I believe the initial start of planning that area along with Glen Carbon was in like 2003. So this has been a long time coming, and we're still planning way down the road. Years. It could be 10 years before that completely develops. But what cities do is that really focus on the needs of their residents is focus long-term, and that's what we're doing. So what we've done with the I-55 corridor is our city planner, Emily Foltz, has been redoing all of our zoning codes and creating new design guidelines, not only for the I-55 corridor, but for all areas of the city to kind of focus on that area of the businesses we want that fit into the aesthetics of the area. So we started with, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Anderson Hospital started with an initial investment and has a new facility going up there right across from the YMCA. And that we anticipate that could potentially spur development out that way, all the way towards the highway, where potentially there could be some hotels out there on the highway. So I continue to see quality businesses that fit the footprint of that area, similar to Anderson or smaller, and potentially other residential developments. I almost envision it as a city within a city. But we have design guidelines going that way to make sure it fits into our area and fits into the footprint that has a consistent look with high quality businesses, high quality residential developments that fit in that area headed towards the highway to also reduce congestion from our main city area from downtown and 159. So that's the potential they could have there. And once again, it's a long-term approach. This isn't something that I feel like is going to happen overnight, but cities that really focus on the footprint and the success of developments like these will see a long-term positive gain for their citizens.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that question. I appreciate it.
Oh, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Yeah, no, we definitely appreciate it. I mean, to be honest with you, your business you're in kind of keeps us running here. So quite a bit of equipment from your businesses. So thank you for that.
Yeah, am I allowed to make one more comment? Or am I out of time?
We can give you about 45 more seconds.
Yeah, I just want to, say real quick is I know that you guys have musicians in the family. My dad started Swing City Music. I got to give the business a plug, over, almost 60 years ago. And we love music and everything to do with music. And we appreciate the opportunity to just mention our company tonight. So thank you.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. And have a great night. And good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Okay, we got a comment here from one of our former candidates, Terry, saying that she appreciates that Mr. Rizvi supports responsible growth and long-term plan. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So the nice thing is tonight, you guys are engaging, and we really appreciate that. What are your thoughts on the way the show's been going tonight?
I think it's running a lot smoother than I anticipated.
I
anticipated a lot of hiccups along the way, but your technical skills have come in handy. Good job.
You know what? I'm gonna throw it all to DJ White out tonight because he has actually been the one that has really just he's been on the ball over there. He's getting our folks in here, We appreciate the work that he does. And to all of our candidates who have come in tonight, we've got one more that we're expecting to step in any minute. I really genuinely appreciate just being a voter here in Granite City, the opportunity to hear you speak directly to me. And, I'm sure Mac, as a citizen of Edwardsville, you've probably got a lot of the same admiration and respect. And
well, not only that, I mean, just everything that they've done to put themselves out there for public opinion, put themselves out there,
right?
Just for opinions to be reflected back on them, whether you like them or you don't. I have a lot of admiration for that, and just putting yourself out there for the public to see, whether they vote for you or not.
Right.
You took that chance, and that's very admirable.
Right. And I'll just say kudos to every single one of you, because when you get to a point where you want to run for public office, and again, I've heard nothing tonight that's been self-centered.
Nothing.
Like, I don't think I've heard one candidate say, I want to do it because I want to be whatever I'm running for. Tonight, what you're truly hearing from these candidates is the care and the concern for their cities, whether it's Granite City or whether it's Edwardsville or wherever. These people want to improve the quality of life of their citizens, because we've heard everything from homeless, concerns. We've heard everything from business concerns. We've heard, safety concerns. So that's something a lot of people don't take into account when you're talking about, rundown houses and things like that. Sometimes things may be an eyesore, but more importantly, they can become a safety concern. So I was really happy to hear a lot about that tonight as well on here. So again, kudos to all of our candidates. Thank you to everyone who has been, kicking in, their questions and their comments. Bob, Jesse, Chris, we appreciate you guys. Appreciate all of you guys. Just kicking in your messages. We appreciate that. If you have any questions, let us know. Show's going to be coming to an end here before too long. Like I said, we have one more candidate that we're running a little ahead of time tonight. So has anything struck you tonight in particular that you'd like to address, talk about?
No, I try to keep it as non-biased as I can, but I do appreciate all the candidates from both cities coming on and putting, like I said before, putting themselves out there. This is what I believe. Here's why I believe it. Here's why I think I can do for this area. It's been phenomenal, and I'm going to be honest with you. These 2 hours have just flown by.
Yeah, when we were putting this show together, and I was thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got almost a 2-hour show. I was like,
yeah, we're an hour over, and this is the fastest podcast we've done.
Yeah, it really is. It really is, and it's been such a great show. So what I would encourage what I would really encourage you guys to do is, if you're tuning in late or catching us late, go back through here, find your candidates that you want to hear from, and reach out to them personally also.
I'm sure a lot of them have Facebook pages.
You
can find them on the internet.
Candidate pages.
Right.
Yeah. We reached out to them, and we were not friends with some of these people on Facebook, and some of them were still not directly connected, but they responded, and because they know
that just shows the positive attitude. Hey, these people are reaching out to me. I've got an avenue. Here's what I want to say, and I want all these people to see it. So I don't have any hesitation to say that contact them, ask them your question, they'll respond to you.
Right. It's a level of dedication that these candidates have. And if there was someone on here or someone not on here tonight that you're wanting to hear from, reach out to us. We'll reach out to them. And even though we may not be doing another candidate show within we said it's 2 weeks to Election Day, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
From Tuesday,
We're still happy to give them a 7-minute spot to come in and talk about what they want to talk about. Terry Dalariva, she's just put on here, yes, please feel free to reach out to her. And I'm sure that goes for any of our candidates that we've had tonight. And while we wait for our final candidate, I just want to give.
Down there.
Okay, I think we do have her. All right, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Alan, or DJ, if you want to.
Whatever your name is.
Yeah, whatever your name is, son, whatever you're going to go by tonight. If you want to go ahead and bring on Jennifer.
He just did.
Oh, there you are.
Good evening. Thank you for taking the time out. We're great.
Oh, No, I really appreciate you all doing this. This is wonderful. As you said, there very limited opportunities for us to speak, and especially in this COVID world, getting
Right.
out there and shaking hands and knocking on doors is just not
Makes it very difficult.
thing to do.
You just can't kiss those babies right now, can
Right.
you?
Right.
So, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. And, Mac is kind of going to, Mac is actually one of your constituents. So, he's going to be the one. I mean, I'll be paying attention, but he's really got an ear to the ground on this. So, I'm going to kind of turn it over to him and let him introduce you and let him take it away.
All right. Thank you for coming on tonight. As with everybody else, name, position you're running for, why you feel that you're the best fit for it. And again, 7-minute timer, and you ready there, Chuck?
Ready, DJ?
The floor is yours, ma'am.
All right. Well, hello. My name is Jennifer Brumback, and I'm running for Edwardsville School Board. Just a little bit of background around me. I'm not originally from Illinois. I'm not originally from Edwardsville area, but I came to it by way of military retirement. So we've been here since 2012. I have 2 children that have graduated from Edwardsville High School in the last couple of years. And one was very, very active in band and art. And then my other was very active in service learning. And so she participated and was an officer for Interact, which was a Rotary sponsored club. I, on my part, wanted to support them and tried to do that the best I could. As I mentioned, I'm a wife of a retired military member, which definitely made for a lot of opportunities to move around. Thankfully, I had a very good chosen career. I was a middle and high school math teacher. And so we've had a lot of opportunities to see different things that are happening, not just here in the Midwest, but across the U.S. and abroad. We were stationed overseas for about half of our military assignments. So through those exposures, I had curriculum experience. I received experience on how to work with special education, CTE programming, one-to-one technology programs, AP classes. And so I always try to find the benefit of all of those moves, and that was definitely it. I got a lot of experience there. The one thing that was different, though, when we moved to Edwardsville is I had always served as a teacher in the community where we lived. This was the first time I didn't. When we arrived, there was not a need for a math teacher. Not the case right now, but I did find a position in East St. Louis as the assessment specialist, and I'm now currently the chief academic officer there. I do have a bachelor's degree in mathematics, secondary education as a focus, and I have a master of education in administration, curriculum development, and supervision. We need to make sure that the kids in our community are raised with the expectation that they give back to their community. That's how I was raised. And so when I got into the position where I was no longer able to be the band booster treasurer or be on the Citizens Advisory Council or tutor in the math lab at the high school, I had a few people approach me about being on the school board. And so I kind of sat and thought about that. My daughter was in her senior year and about to graduate. And, that little voice in the back of my head that said, use your gifts, talents, and experiences to give back to the community. This was a natural fit. I did, walking into it 2 years ago, knew that there were some things that were happening in the district. For instance, the financial challenges that were being rectified through Prop E. But there were also some curriculum challenges. They had to put some curriculum on hold in order to get more financially sound. So I knew that I could offer a voice for that. In my position in East St. Louis, I do a lot of work with ISB, know a lot of the programs that are available to districts, free training. I know when money's about to come down the pike. So I can serve as one of 7. And when you think about a school board, it's always good to have somebody on the board who understands education, who understands the moves of law and policy and things that come from the Illinois legislature. And I just felt like giving my voice to the board could bring benefit to the students and the community itself. So I did run. Thankfully, I was elected 2 years ago. Walking in right away with a new superintendent, Dr. Henderson, he got CT up and moving. That was something that we really pushed him and really supported him in those moves. He started strategic planning, and then we had a situation come up at the high school where it became necessary to have a conversation about equity. So there was an equity task force that was put into play. And then COVID hit. I would like to say that amidst COVID, that all of those things continue to move on, but in reality, it's stymied not just Edwardsville, but everywhere across the world. And so I know that going into this new election cycle, I'm not finished. There's still work that needs to be done that I had kind of set as goals for myself to help support within the district. We know we're getting a new superintendent again, and Dr. Shelton, really hoping to have the opportunity to work with him, support him. He's got a great vision for what's going to happen with the district. But my focus areas are to take those lessons that we've learned over the last year with COVID. How do we not exactly go back to where we were, but how do we take some of the positives out of the last year and put it with what we used to do to make a better situation for students, for their curriculum, their academics. Also want to continue the work for the CTE footprint. I know we've talked a lot about that on here tonight. Some very good ideas and great conversation there. But really, I want to be that person that's asking, have you thought about? So for instance, when we're talking about how to deal with learning loss, we have students that need support for learning loss, but we also have students that are ready to continue to move forward. So are we thinking about programming that will help them continue their journey and not hold them back because others may need some support? So when I think about equity, I think about equity in terms of programming for the arts, for CTE, special ed, gifted education, dual credit, athletics. Are we providing access for all students? And then that equity comes in too when we're looking at, do students from different socioeconomic backgrounds have the same opportunities to participate in those things? Do both girls and boys have opportunities to participate in those things? Are we making sure that there are racial equities happening? Just on the surface, and just to be honest, my children are Korean. We were very fortunate to be a family by adoption. And so I'm very aware of some of the challenges that they experienced in high school in terms of equity. And I was really kind of heartbroken at one point here recently. I asked my son, I said, honey, did you ever have a teacher who was Asian in front of you? And he said, no, not that I can remember. I said, do you remember reading stories that had a major Asian theme, or based in a culture that you found, that you had some curiosity toward? He said, no, but I'm getting it right now in college, Mom. He's building his own community. So that's one thing that I can say really happened well, is that through our military moves, through our time here in Edwardsville, he found the resources within himself, taught by those around him, so that he could find ways to meet his needs.
Right.
But I do think that we need to think about that as we're going into this post-COVID world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
I just had one question real quick, if you can kind of field it in about a 30-second time frame. I know there's a lot of, and my kids are in 9th grade, 8th grade, and 5th grade in the school district, and so I'm really engaged. My question is, with the amount of teachers we have, are we looking at more? Are we looking at, with the growth of the community, are we looking at moving them around, bringing in more? What is the plan moving forward for possible population growth?
So whenever we walk into a situation where we have population growth, and this isn't just Edwardsville, it's everywhere, you always have your contract to follow. Teachers can't go over a certain number of students in the classroom, and they usually do a really good job of negotiating a reasonable number for that. There are times when it's not, though. And so when we have an influx of new population, we have to consider the expansion of our teaching force. But with that will then also come additional funding, depending on the type of student it is from the, funding from the state. There are things to consider, but I heard Terry say earlier, that we're looking at population, and I kind of had the same assumption. I made the same assumption. Edwardsville is getting bigger. We need to add more space, more teachers, but really our enrollment has stayed pretty consistent over time. So, hopefully with continued growth within the city, the schools will respond to that. It just will, it will come with time and hopefully in combination with information from the mayor and other city officials who can give us information about growth of the city.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We definitely appreciate it. It's been
quite an experience.
It has. It really has. It really has. We appreciate you taking the time, first of all, out of your life to talk with us and just kind of educate those in the area. And not only that, on a wonderful, beautiful Sunday, it's probably a little darker now, but so
I'm a little sun-kissed from canvassing today, so I was kind of glad to have a little time to cool down.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and good luck on your campaign. And we'll be looking forward to the results. I guess April 7th.
So that's when the results will come. Right. Yes, I hope.
We're hoping. We're hoping. Awesome. Right. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful night, and good luck with your campaign.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you both.
Same here.
Thank you. Wow.
Stamina has been tested tonight.
But it was a really, really good show.
I think it was very productive.
I definitely
DJ's over there stretching it out.
Yes, Terry, you're welcome, and thank you.
You got a tight hammy over there, buddy?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
But it's been very enlightening. We appreciate the opportunity that you guys have given us to listen to your point of view, your standpoint.
And thank you for giving us the opportunity to showcase you on our show.
Right.
That's huge.
Right. So, we would definitely encourage you guys. Yes, we want our show shared, but we would also encourage you to share it, not just for our benefit, but for the benefit of the others that are in the area. I do want to take a quick minute before we close out here tonight. And I just want to thank each of our candidates by name and the time that they spent with us. And most importantly, respecting the time limits that we had to give each candidate. We would have loved to have given everybody much more time.
I got kids that put to bed to go to school tomorrow.
You do?
I do.
You do. So I just want to take a time. I want to thank Eric, Stacy, Steve, Roustio. I apologize, Steve. I really do.
You're awful. You are absolutely awful.
Talon Curran, I appreciate you sticking with us throughout the show. Talon, I see you stuck around. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Terry Dallariva, thank you very much. Stephanie, Terry Perrin, Richard Goen, appreciate you. Your mayoral candidacy coming on and answering our questions. Mr. Doss, appreciate you sticking around, not just for being on the show, but you stuck with us throughout it, and we appreciate that as well. Mr. Rizvi, appreciate you being on here and telling us, thanks, Jesse. Appreciate you,
what your views are.
Yeah, what your views are.
What your vision is.
And then last but definitely not least, Jennifer, thank you for coming on. And like I said, just spending your Sunday evening with us. And
it's a fireside chat.
It is a fireside chat.
Sure feels like there's a fire down here.
Awesome. Well, hey, next week's show, we're going to come to you guys. You're welcome, Eric. Later this week, we're going to come to you and let you know what this weekend show is going to be.
I hope you have an idea, because right now I'm spent.
I do. So we talked a little bit. We did talk a little bit about the Mandela effect a few weeks ago, if not last week. I think we might touch a little bit on that. And I want to tell you, it's some crazy stuff, because we're going to talk about some things that you remember, actually happened, but the truth is, it didn't. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
So you're a figment of my imagination?
I think it may be the other way around. I kind of think I actually may be sitting in the middle of a rubber room wearing a tight white strap jacket. So, but we'll have to see.
You quit telling us what you like to do in your free time, all right?
So, hey guys, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. Share the show. If you have candidates that want to come on, we're more than happy to give them spots.
And again, real quick, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nope.
If you have questions, we will definitely forward them to the candidates if you would like, or you're more than welcome to contact them directly. All of them tonight have said, please, if you have questions, get a hold of us. We'd love to hear from you, love to answer them. Or like I said, we would definitely forward those for you. So don't hesitate in doing that.
You have accessible candidates. Take advantage of them.
All of them.
Yes. And with that said, DJ, you want to play us out of here?